Today, our guest is the chairman of the Oil Research Center, Ilham Shaban. Welcome to our studio. Thank you. Today, we will discuss oil contracts and their use. Yesterday, Azerbaijan signed another oil contract, the 33rd contract. But none of these contracts are operated by Azerbaijan Republic or government or Azerbaijani. What's the reason? Or government or Azerbaijani. The company of Azerbaijan Republic signed the 33rd production sharing contract, but it had never led any project. When you compare it with offshore contracts, it becomes understandable because there is a need for new technologies, regulatory. Why does the Azerbaijan Republic, the Azerbaijan State Oil Company, prefers new explorations instead of developed oil fields? Developing Azerbaijan initially oil field and Shah Deniz gas field. About 200 million tons of oil has been delivered to the world market from Azerbaijan oil field, and about 20 billion cubic meters of gas were delivered from Shah Deniz gas field to the world market. Azerbaijan State Oil Company has launched the next stage, that is the offshore exploration in the Caspian Sea. And in this regard, the contract signed with Total Company of France and BP Oil Company show that a new phase has been launched that aims at exploration of new oil fields at the depths of 500 to 800 meters. State Oil Company doesn't have technical capacity to surface new oil fields itself company, but even the well-known companies of Russia have limited capacity. Perhaps only top 10 oil companies of the world are able to carry such explorations and have necessary technologies. What can you say about the transparency of oil incomes, especially the incomes of State Oil Company of the Azerbaijan Republic? First, we should separate oil incomes and the revenues of State Oil Company, because the oil revenues, saying oil revenues will mean the Azerbaijan's revenues from production sharing agreements. These revenues are accumulated in State Oil Fund, and there's a such organization named the Revenue Watch. It listed them according to the oil revenues, and Azerbaijan stood ninth in the among 41 countries. I think it's not a bad indicator. But as to the revenues of State Oil Company of the Azerbaijan Republic, unfortunately this company only issues report about its revenues once a year, and it draws little public attention. I must mention that the company's revenues for the 2009 have not been publicized yet. Shale revolution. That's how the gas revolution is called. It seems that the Azerbaijan's role in the gas supply of Europe is increasing. Statements are made about the Nabucco project, but what is the real situation? The real situation is not so encouraging, but the European politicians and the European companies use this diversification policy as a leverage to pray. Expert told me that it is too early to build big projects in southern Caucasus or Caspian region. This region is much more suitable for small or medium projects. What do you think? In order to launch big projects, should we first launch small projects, or we can launch directly big projects? Everything is set in the market. The reason why such a big project like Nabucco is not raised again is lack of financial interest for the project, because the gas consumption in Europe has gone down, and under these conditions the interest for local projects is much more than the Nabucco project. But I think export of Azerbaijan gas through Georgia to world market or European market is much more real and much more perspective rather than Nabucco project. You mean Aga project? What is the perspectives of this project has increased within past months, and this was also affirmed in the second international gas conference held in Baku. Though some were skeptic towards this project, two countries have already expressed their interest to import Azerbaijan gas. They are Bulgaria and the Ukraine. It seems the gas strategy of Azerbaijan is a right strategy, especially supplying Dagestan, Northern Caucasus, Northern Iran, Turkey, Georgia with gas is a successful strategy. What can you say about it? In 2006, in Caspian Oil Gas Exhibition, the former BP Azerbaijan president said that Shahtian's field should first, in its first stage, dominate the local market, and then turn for bigger markets. If we look at the directives of European countries as well as America's recommendations, they say that regional cooperation is the basis for peace and stability in the region. The representative for Caspian region lately spoke in Istanbul about new energy policy of the United States. Said that compared to the 90s years of the last century, when the U.S. policy aimed to ensure the political and economic independence of the newly independent states, the new policy of United States aims at making these new countries as transit countries. What can you say about transit role of Azerbaijan? When the United States voiced this new energy policy, it meant Trans-Caspian pipeline. Under current conditions, it's in vain to help for transit this role. When the U.S. speaks of its policy in the Caspian region, such big countries as Russia, Iran, and China have a jealous approach towards export of energy from newly independent states to the European states. And I think it's not time for these huge projects intended by United States of America. Today, 6 million tons of oil of Kazakhstan is exported through Azerbaijan. And beginning from this year, part of the Turkmenistan oil is exported through Baku-Tbilisi-Ceyhan pipeline. Thank you for coming to our studio. Today our guest was the chairman of the Oil Research Center, Ilham Shaban.